Lois before that, I didn't know what to expect out of her as the speaker. Let me tell you this. Before she spoke, I felt really good. And after she spoke, I felt even better. She has an incredible outlook and a magnificent sense of humor. We're going to find this out shortly. To Lois Olmstead, finding an adventure isn't too hard to do. Just look from where you are standing. By her own admission, she can't cook. She said she once made gravy out of plaster of Paris. That's interesting. Lois is highly popular as a motivational speaker at business conventions, medical organizations, and Christian conferences. She has spoken at retreats and as a humorous keynote speaker at over 1,600 events in the U.S. and Canada. Lois shares with us how to live with joy and courage. Inspiring others is something that has become part of her everyday life. Lois was born on a ranch north of Livingston, Montana. She's been married 53 years to Robert Olmstead, and they have 3 sons and 7 grandchildren. She hosted her daily radio talk show in Billings and owned and operated a gift shop and art gallery in Colster called Apple Cider Alley. She's also written 6 published books and authors a weekly column that goes worldwide on the internet. We are very fortunate to have Lois with us tonight. Please welcome her, Lois.
Thank you. I think that's really good. I actually do not know what I'm doing here. I think I'm the oldest person in the room for sure, and I have to tell Macklin, I can't do anything athletic. I cannot do anything athletic, and as a matter of fact, I have a new favorite t-shirt that I'm going to get printed. It came off of Facebook, and this is what it said. I don't run, and if you ever see me running, you should run too, because it means something is after me. That's how athletic I am. And Lucy, I can't shoot a gun. I really can't shoot a gun. My mom is an awesome hunter. She's 90 years old. She's killed a bear, a moose, an elk, all that kind of stuff. So when I went to Bozeman, to college, I needed to find a physical education class that was not athletic because I knew I'd never pass. So I thought I would try rifle marksmanship because I thought that's not too athletic. I know you don't have to hit a ball and you don't have to run. So I got in rifle marksmanship, which back in the day when I was in Bozeman, it was still Montana State College, and rifle marksmanship was in a Quonset hut off to the side with this Army guy that had probably been in the Army 110 years or something. Anyway, when he told me after 3 weeks in the class, he said, I have never flunked anybody in rifle marksmanship since I've been in Bozeman. But if I were to flunk anybody, it would be you. And I couldn't figure out why, and then I thought, I bet it was the day he was trying to have us lay on our stomachs. The target was up there. The first time I shot, I hit the target, the bullseye, in the target next to my target. But then he tapped me on the shoulder to tell me something while I am laying there like this. He taps me on the shoulder. The only thing I could do was, what? And there, I got a D in that class. So, and Joe, I went to a one-room country school for 8 years, and I don't think marijuana was even invented then. So I'm really not sure why I'm here, except that I want to give you some good advice because I'm the oldest person here. I'm glad I remember to be here, because I'm reaching a stage in life where I don't always remember where I'm supposed to be. I can be in the kitchen, walk into the bedroom to get something and go. Somebody said to me, do you exercise now? I said, yes, many times a day. But don't laugh at me, because you're almost as bad, and especially you young people. I talked to one of you the other day and I said, something about the cell phone and the calls that they made, and they said they just looked at their history on their cell phone. The person they'd called the most, that had called them the most, was themselves trying to find their cell phone. So don't look at me like I'm just old and nitwitty. I mean, you've got it too. I've seen you do stuff. And not only that, it's not just women. My brother is a cowboy in Wyoming, and cowboys now go have coffee before they go out on the range. It's a new thing. They go to the 7-Eleven and have coffee, and then they get on their horses and off they ride. He said a couple of weeks ago, he told me that they were sitting around the table and somebody's cell phone rang. The guy next to him reached in his pocket, pulled out his remote control, and didn't answer the telephone. Did you get it? I'll have to tell you what I did. I'm finding that I need caffeine later in life, and so I go to McDonald's. I'm now qualifying for senior coffee. I go to McDonald's to get coffee in Livingston. I drive through the drive-through. I pay for my coffee. I get out on Park Street. I reach for my coffee. I don't have it. I paid at the first window. I drove right by the second window. I don't have my coffee. I got to go back through the drive-through, look down to the small box and go, "Do you remember me? I'm the lady that was just here. I paid for my coffee. Can I get it?" I go to the second window. Sure enough, there sits my coffee right there. And the girl that looks like she's 13 hands my coffee to me with a look that says, "I hope when I get your age, I'm not that bad." And I'm like, "Sister, a lot of you are already this bad." And that's what I want to do with my time tonight, to talk to you. You know, I was thinking on the way over here that if you were looking for a good car, and I told you that my car has 178,000 miles on it, I've drove it all over, I've driven it through 6-foot snow drifts, wouldn't you want to know what kind of car I got? Well, here's what I want to tell you tonight. I'm 72 years old. I've been through a battle with cancer. I've raised 3 teenage boys, and that was worse than any cancer. And I'm here to tell you some things tonight that can change your life and give you a life full of joy. So that's what I'm going to do in just the few minutes we have. And the reason I believe this has to do with your grandpas and your grandmas. It's because there's a thing that happens at some time after you get a certain age where you've got to stay up and you've got to watch the weather on the news. Now, a few of you are nodding like you're already there. You see, we live in the middle of the hayfield, and my folks, who are 90 and 93, still ranchers, live just over the hill from us. And my dad will call in the morning and say, "What's the weather over there?" Because he's old. And I think I could look at his thermometer to see, because that's how close it is. But you see, when you get old, you care about the weather. And you can't go to bed until the weather comes on when you reach this age. My husband and I were sitting one night in our Archie and Edith chairs, and you've got to be old enough to know what that is. And we're sitting in our chairs, and we are waiting for the news to come on so we can go to bed. Bob McGuire comes on, and he says, "Tomorrow, the weather is going to be a departure from average." I ran and got a card that I keep over on the side table with a pencil when phone messages come, and I grabbed my pen, I grabbed a piece of paper. Bob McGuire says, "Tomorrow, the weather is going to be a departure from average." Do any of you live in Montana? I mean, when have we had average weather? I mean, we don't even know what average weather is, right? And he says the weather's going to be a departure from average. And I grabbed this card and I wrote down a departure from average, because that's what I want to be. You see, this world's got enough crabby people. I don't know about you, but have you walked in the mall lately or the grocery store? I'm in airports all the time. Do you know how rare it is to see somebody smiling? In the grocery store, in the mall, in the places in the country where we have everything? Well, I believe that if you want to be a departure from average, there's 5 things you've got to do, and I'm just going to tell you quickly. This is what's made a difference in my life. And then when I finish, I'm going to give you a card with these 5 things on it. It's a recipe for enjoying the journey. And the first thing is this: love where you are. Could you love where you are? Do you know that we live in one of the most beautiful places in the world? Yeah. And I'm going to be a little crabby with you right now. I'm sorry, but I'm going to be crabby. Do you know that people come after saving for 5 or 7 or 10 years to have a vacation in the place we live in every single day? Are you looking where you live? When we moved, we spent 35 years in eastern Montana, and then we moved up to the Shields Valley. And I said, God, help me to see what I see. I don't want to ever go to town and not see the beauty around me. And not only loving where you are in a specific location, but I believe also you need to love where you are at the age you are. Do you know that tomorrow you're never going to be as young as you were today? You think about that? Don't you think you ought to enjoy the day that you have, the day that you were in? Love where you are. I believe it is so important to love where you are. When I was going through cancer, I woke up in the middle of the night. Many of you, some of you have probably been through cancer. You know that when you can't sleep at night. I was sitting on the couch in the living room and I heard this crackling noise. And I thought, what in the world is that? Usually a crackling noise means there's a fire in the kitchen. But this particular time it wasn't that. My husband brought home a sign that says, welcome to the promised land, and it hangs in our kitchen. When we say grace at our house, we mean it. We aren't just saying it. So I thought crackling noise probably meant kitchen fire. But it wasn't. I turned the light on, and then I looked over in the corner, and a very tall philodendron plant that we had, when I looked over in that corner, we'd had that plant for about 12 years, a leaf was unfolding, and that was the crackling noise. And I thought, look what it took for me to hear the leaf unrolling. Oh, people love where you are and see what you see. My second thing is this, and that is learn to have a grateful attitude. I don't think there's a single person in this building that went out this morning to find a few sticks of wood, to build a fire, to cook a cup of rice. We are living in a country of so many things. We have so much. Grocery shopping is a nightmare. I mean, you got to be careful. You can go to the store. Tell me if I'm not right. You can go to the store and get Cheerios with jalapenos in it or something. I mean, you can get peanut butter with cranberries or nuts. You've got to spend twice as much shopping, right, nowadays, just to get what you want to get. Because there are 32 kinds of Cheerios. Ought we not to be thankful? Ought we not to be thankful? I learned some years ago, I would go to bed at night. I'd make lists. You probably can tell already. I need to make lists to know what I'm doing. And I was making lists. And say that I had a list with 13 things to do on it on a day, and I got 10 done. Do you know when I went to bed and laid on my head on the pillow, which did I think about? The 10 that I got done? No. And one day I woke up and thought, stupid. I mean, how stupid is that? And I made a contract with God. I said, God, you know what? When I lay on my head on the pillow from now on, I'm going to start thanking you for my day. And every night since, when I lay my head on the pillow, I say, thank you I could get up this morning. Thank you I have 2 arms and 2 legs that work. There's people that don't. Thank you that I can see today. Thank you I can go to my closet this morning. I got to wear my red sweater today or whatever it was. Thank you we had food for breakfast. And every night before I get through the day, thanking God for the things in the day, I'm asleep and it's a new day. Love where you are. Learn to have an attitude of gratitude. And the third thing is this: please know that things aren't always as they seem. Things are not always as they seem. Have you ever had anything bad that turned out to be good after all? Right? Or something that you thought was going to be good, that car, and then it turned out to be bad? I mean, I know 2 Dairy Queen Blizzards are enough. I mean, some things aren't just as they seem. I'm telling you right now, things are not always as they seem. And if you want to question my theory, just go to about your 20th or 30th high school class reunion and look at the guy you were desperate to marry. God save us! I kid you not. I'm sorry. I mean, you wouldn't even think that, I know. But I'm telling you what, there's a whole lot of things that aren't as they seem. I was in the Detroit airport. Actually, I wasn't in the airport. I was outside the airport in an airplane. And we were all buckled in and ready to go, and the pilot said, "We've discovered there's mechanical difficulties with this plane. You're going to have to disembark and go to another plane." I love English today. My mom's refrigerator went bad the other day, and she said, "I'm going to have to get a used one." And I said, "Mom, there's no used refrigerators anymore. There's no used refrigerators. What are they?" They're pre-owned refrigerators. We have a new English language, you know that? So when the pilot says disembark, what does he mean? Get off. And I'm telling you, when you mess with people's schedules on a plane, they are not happy. And they're grabbing their stuff out of the overhead bins, and they're grabbing the seat belt and popping it. And then they got wheels, you know. They got wheels on their luggage. So they're going down from gate 3 to gate 7 like this. Here's Lois. One-room country school, 5-buckle-over shoes. I don't know much about nothing. I really don't. I don't know much about anything. But I'm telling you, and I got wheels now too because Robert bought them for me. I'm headed down, and I am so elated. I think we should all sing the Hallelujah chorus because the plane didn't break in the air, for Pete's sake. Things are not always as they seem. Things are not always as they seem. I'm telling you, there's enough crabby people in the world. We don't need any more. How many of you wake up in the morning and go, "Oh, I'd sure like to go visit my crabby friend today"? No, crabby people don't attract people. So I'm telling you, love where you are. Learn to have a grateful attitude. No, things aren't always as they seem. And the third thing is this, another airport story. I was in the Portland airport, and I had just come from speaking all along the Oregon coast, and I had this little tuna fish can rental car, and I had to drive over the mountain, and it was snowing in Oregon. I did not know it snowed in Oregon. So I get to the Oregon airport and check the rental car in, check my baggage in, and then I still have to go through security. I don't know if you know about Homeland Security. But in Homeland Security, they need to see if you are a terrorist or not. So they have these gray dish pans, and you have to put your belongings in these gray dish pans, and they look to see if you're a terrorist or not. So I go over, and I cannot wait to get this done so that I can go sit in the corner and bawl because of the snowstorm. Bawling is different than crying. Bawling is ugly. Crying or weeping is just incidental, but bawling is when you've had it. So I was wanting to go to the corner and bawl. So I start by putting my briefcase in the gray dish pan, my purse, my jacket, all that stuff, and I reach down. I got to put my shoes in the dish pan. And I reached down, and I looked at my shoes, and there was something hanging by my shoe. And I'm like, what in the world is that? I need to stop and tell you, I have flying clothes. And my husband says, make sure that you know they aren't clothes that fly. But they are my flying clothes because I fly so much. I have a certain pair of black pants, a jacket, sweater, and these black shoes that I can run in that I wear when I'm flying. When I look down, there's something by my shoe. Well, the third time I go down to get a look, I have 4 security guards right beside me on this side of the table because they've been to classes and they know, Lucy, you would know this, they know that people can put guns and knives and holsters on their ankles, so they think that I am one. So I bend down like this, and when I get a handful, I know what I got. I got my pantyhose. Men, it's okay. I'll just explain it this way. My dad wears long underwear from about September till the next June. And he can take his long underwear and his Levi's off with one fell swoop and step out of them and then pull them up if he's got to go to town or something, and off you go. Well, I had my pantyhose on me when I went from Bozeman to Oregon. But when I came back from the Oregon coast, I was so concerned about the snowstorm that I had my pantyhose with me, but they were not on me. They were just with me. So when I pull about a foot of pantyhose, I get tickled. And I go, funniest thing that ever happened to me. Now they think I'm an idiot. And they're really scared, and they've got their hands on their hips, and I think I'm about to be drugged away, and all of a sudden I hear, they are so excited. They are so excited. Nothing exciting has ever happened in Portland, Oregon. They've never had a terrorist. They've wanted a terrorist. They've gone to classes. They've studied. They've read notebooks, and they've never had a terrorist. And now they have one, and she's disguised as a church lady. What could be more perfect? I'm pulling. I'm a 2 queen size extra large. I got 27 feet of pantyhose to get from here all the way here. So I'm pulling and pulling and pulling, and finally I got him. I got him. But what am I going to do with him? I got no pocket, I got no purse, nothing. So I just walked over the table, I put them in the gray dish pan, off they went down through the radiation machine. I've got the only Homeland Secure radiated pantyhose in America. And the reason I tell you that is this: please learn to laugh at yourself. Do you know we take ourselves too seriously so much of the time? Do you know what a joy it is to lighten up? Just lighten up and give yourself a break and learn to laugh at yourself. Love where you are. Have a grateful attitude. Know things aren't always as they seem. Learn to laugh at yourself. And then number 5, please get this: freedom is not free. Did you know that the country we live in, the free country we live in, came because men and women fought for our freedom, and they're fighting today for our freedom, and it's something we should appreciate that we can come here tonight. I want to show you something. Just got this in change today. It's a handful of pennies. It's a handful of pennies. I'd pass them around, but I don't have enough for everybody, so you're going to have to get your own. But you know what? On these pennies, it still says, "In God we trust." Do you know in the United States of America, we are still free to worship? We are still free to talk openly about God and our beliefs, and that's something to be thankful for. Love where you are. Develop a grateful attitude. Know things aren't always as they seem. Learn to laugh at yourself. Know that freedom isn't free. And I want to close by just telling you this little story about our granddaughter. Our granddaughter, Sagey, was about 5 years old when she came over to stay with Grammy and Grampy. And she was one of our poor grandchildren, and she hadn't been to McDonald's yet. And I said, "Sagey, Grammy's going to take you to McDonald's, and we're going to get a Happy Meal." And she said, "Really?" And I said, "Yes." And we walked into McDonald's, and I showed her all those toys that were in that box and all the things that you could get in a Happy Meal. And we went over and ordered 2 Happy Meals. We got back to the table. Sagey opened up her sack, her Happy Meal sack. She looked in it and she said, "Holy cats, a hamburger. Holy cats, wants a hamburger. I don't know where she got holy cats. But you know what? I said to her, oh, Sadie, you've preached such a sermon today. All the world is excited about the Happy Meal toys, and it's in the beef. God bless you.
Thank you, Lois.
And we will give out those things to the people.
Yes, Lois will give out little cards with the five things you need to remember. What a great way to wrap this up tonight. Geez, we started with dreaming. We had some incredible stories about overcoming some challenges, some obstacles in our lives, and we ended with, what can we say? We're going to say that some of you, this might be your first time at Cool Smoke. Isn't this a great place? So, yeah, thank you. The best coffee house in the world. Yes. So on the way out, please thank the staff and come on back and drink some coffee sometime. Thank you all for being here, and we'll be in touch and let you know the next event is here. So have a great night. Stay warm.
Facebook, and somebody sees anything care, just Joe Lair on Facebook and a few speakers on Facebook, and just tag us.
Yes.